Ladies and future world's sexiest men. Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet and inventor of Bitcoin. That's right, I'm Satoshi. This is the Kill You're in a Loser show. Let's fucking go. Joined by my side chick, my number one fuck buddy, Imogen. Hi, how's it going?
Okay.
You're also my girlfriend, I've noticed. So we are doing part 7 today of a 2021 review. So we're going over all of our achievements and goals and shit that we did in 2021, giving ourselves some credit for it, talking about our process and how we achieved it, and giving you guys a bit of motivation to do the same thing. This is something that I recommend you guys do. Go through what you did last year, write it all down, give yourself credit for all of that. If you haven't watched the first video, go and watch that. As I said yesterday, you're a piece of shit if you haven't watched the first video. So I would prefer you guys not to be a piece of shit. It would mean a lot to me. It really would mean a lot to me if you guys weren't pieces of shit. So if you could...
That's not nice.
I love you guys so very much. So watch the first video. I talk about why we recommend doing this, blah, blah, blah. Let's get straight into it. I have to talk in our quiet voices today because I have a friend staying over and he's sick and he's on the couch sick, so I don't want to wake him up, the poor boy. He's probably got that COVID thing. He's probably dead. He's probably dead from COVID.
He's okay.
No, he's got food poisoning because he's an idiot. So number 76. Now, you're going to see the world's best segue after I just called my friend an idiot. So number 76 is I've worked on being nicer and more empathetic when giving advice to my audience. So this has been a good one for me because I was already pretty empathetic. Like, that's just kind of my vibe. I'm never going to be the guy. I've seen so many fucking people who give advice, and I've seen like YouTubers and a bunch of coaches and shit that just like yell at people. They'll say like, why are you doing that? What the fuck are you doing that for? Like, that's stupid. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? And I don't think that's an effective teaching style, because first of all, you're making the person feel like an idiot, which is never conducive to them improving themselves. Like, we're trying to pick each other up and push each other up, not pull each other down. If you are in a place where you feel like an idiot because your coach or your YouTuber or whatever has called you an idiot, you then have to fix that before you start making progress. You have to go like, okay, well, I'm not an idiot. No, like, I can do this. Like, because if you truly think you're an idiot, you won't even try. You go, what's the point? I'm stupid. Why would I even try? So it's like you're adding extra work when you tell people that they're stupid or mock people or derisive or any of that sort of stuff. So I've always focused on just being positive as best I can, but I've tried to put that on turbocharge for the last, like, I'd say 6 months or so. I've tried being a hell of a lot more like patient, not telling people like, oh, what are you doing that for? Like, which I didn't do that much, but I've basically stepped it up into overdrive, which has been nice. It's worked a lot better.
Yeah.
I was already pretty fucking nice to begin with. Most of my content is very, very, very like pushing you guys up. I try and give a message in every bit of content I do. I try and say like, here's the takeaway message. Here's what I want you to take from this. But putting that into overdrive has worked wonders, especially in my coaching. Like, holy fuck. My coaching is like 10 times better now because I'm very like, I focus on like, okay, let's like think about this person, where they're coming from, all that kind of stuff. So that's been good.
Yeah, and I think as we've these last series of videos has been this big long list of mentioning things that we've achieved as we both or you get to a better place. Obviously, it becomes a lot easier to be more loving and give more to your audience from a really good place.
The more goals you achieve, and this applies to all of you guys, whatever goals you're working on, the more of those goals you succeed at, the more of those goals you achieve, you just end up being a happier person anyway. You have like more to give to other people. Like, one of the guys in my coaching group, in my group coaching yesterday, specifically asked the question where he said, like, I find myself starting to want to mentor other people. Like, can you give me some advice on how to mentor other people? Because I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't want to fuck it up, but I want to help people. And that's solely because this guy has started getting laid. I think he's gotten laid like 5 times since he joined my coaching. Like, he's been fucking killing it. He was already going to get laid, but he's really fucking been killing it. And he's found as he's happier and more fulfilled in himself, and he's worked on making money and done some other shit. He wants to give back to people. And so that's why I say to you guys, like, work on your goals, push yourself, be selfish a little bit, not to the detriment of other people. When I say be selfish, I mean focus on yourself, your needs, your goals, your wants, your desires. Make those things happen, achieve those things, and you just find yourself naturally wanting to be fucking nice to the world. You want to be good to the world because you're like, holy shit, I have all this abundance. I want to give some of my leftovers to other people. Like, that's why I do this fucking coaching, is because, or this content, because I'm so damn happy, because my, and my life's not perfect. Let's not say that, but I'm so fucking happy and grateful for my life. And it makes me want to sit down and go like, all right, I'm going to help people with this. I'm going to do this piece of content. I'm going to do this. Like, this is not a chore. This is incredibly fun. But I wouldn't have been able to do this if I hadn't achieved my goals. I still got other goals to achieve, but if I hadn't achieved the big goals, like getting laid, losing a bunch of weight, making friends, even making money, like being able to pay the bills, that was a goal I never thought I would be able to do. We talked about that in previous episodes, but and you too as well. You've become a lot more empathetic, especially to me. You've become a lot nicer and more giving and loving to me. You already were, but you've like taken that up into overdrive as you've started working on yourself and achieving your goals and being a happier person yourself. So there is a virtue in selfishness. Again, when I say selfishness, I mean focusing on your goals and your needs. I don't mean going around and like using other people and being like, well, I'm selfish. Andy told me to be selfish, so give me all your money.
I feel like we've mentioned it a lot of times, but selfishness is a very loaded term. And a lot of people have very negative connotations with it. But I think a nicer way of putting it is looking after your own needs first.
Yeah, handling your own shit, achieving your own goals, giving yourself those things that you want, that you crave, that you need. Yeah. You can read out number 77, very pertinent to you.
77. I did a video for my YouTube channel. You
started a YouTube channel, which not a lot of people know. And we haven't talked about it much because you've only got like one video, don't you?
Yes. It was something that I definitely didn't put a focus on. But
this wasn't really a goal for you.
No.
Yeah.
It was
more just like
starting.
Anyway, you talk.
Yeah, it was just starting for me. Like, I designed a little logo and kind of just put it all together. I would like to develop it over the next year or so. I have more goals this year as to like creating more content. But at this point in time, it is just a little side project. But for me, it was something that I'm quite nervous to do. Like, obviously, I talk a fair bit with you on for these YouTube videos, but it is a little bit more confronting doing it on your own.
Yeah, facing the camera on your own for sure.
Yeah, and I definitely felt that. And I've recorded some videos since then and then not done anything with them. And I think it's just something that I'll continue to practice because I do want to build something of my own. Just for my own sake, as something that's like that's something that's important to me. So getting a start on that was something that I was happy to do last year.
You want to build your own business. You don't want to just like ride my coattails. Not that you do. You do a hell of a lot of work for me, but you want to build your own thing outside of me. You don't just want to watch me be building a YouTube channel and all that sort of shit. Yeah. And your content will mostly be like BDSM stuff, sex toy reviews. You're going to do some personal vlogs and stuff like that, stuff about like women issues, women shit.
Yeah, I think obviously it's hard to say now because I've only really just started, but I'd probably like to move in the direction of like sexuality and like female sexuality, even maybe as it's something that it's something that we talk about more now, like spirituality and getting in touch with yourself. I know that's like, you would call that like
hippie.
Cliche
Sounds
woman
so
shit,
hippie,
but
hippie women shit, yeah. You gotta find yourself, get in touch with your inner roots, which basically means like fucking shove a big dildo in your pussy.
No. But yeah, combined with, BDSM, toys, things like that.
And like self-improvement for women, basically.
Yeah.
That's the way you phrase it. But women always do phrase self-improvement in a very spiritual way. Like, that friend that we've got, the couple, she talks like a fucking spiritual hippie. And everything she's saying, I'm just like, oh, you're just talking about self-improvement. But she'll say it like, you got to love you got to get in touch with yourself and do this. And, it's all about this and inner beauty and all of this. And I'm just like, oh, you're just talking about self-improvement. Yeah. So women always do like to phrase it. And I get that. That's just like, it feels good for women. Men are just like, I want to fucking just do shit. I want to just improve myself. Like, if I start talking like that to guys, like there'll be an audience of guys that will like that. But my audience will be like, what are you talking about? This like spiritual shit. Yeah. I gotta like sneak my spiritual shit in there.
I think it's whatever sits right with you, honestly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, fine. Yeah. Okay, you know what? In my group coaching yesterday, I mentioned Cam asked about your YouTube channel because I told him that you started
with the one video.
Yeah, so he said like, how's Imogen's channel going? Is she going to do more videos? Blah blah blah. And so we all got talking about that, and they said, like the group said, the mission or you're going to say it's not the mission, but it's my mission. It's my secret agenda for your channel is we have to have sex with someone from the audience. Because I don't think that's ever going to happen from my content. Because my audience is like 5% female. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe if I get stupid big, but getting stupid big is not necessarily my mission, but fine, maybe that happens one day. But from they said like, yeah, but Imogen will have a bunch of like women watching. Most of her audience will be women. And so you gotta,
That's interesting. It's funny that you mentioned that actually, because when I was doing research for you to see if there were podcasts similar to this that we could either be guests on or have them on ours, there were a couple of podcasts that were specifically like swingers couples or polyamorous couples or a couple that also does like a threesome type dynamic. And I can't remember which one it was, but one of the podcasts actually said that I think it was a swingers podcast, and now most of the ways they meet people is through their podcast. And it's just jealous. People from their audience. And they said, like, I remember listening to an episode as I was checking their content out, that they actually used online dating for the first time in years, and they're like, oh, this is weird.
Well, because they didn't have to, because they just used their
because
podcast.
People would just reach out to them, so they never. It was like they would get reached out to, and they never had to do anything to meet.
So
people.
I've fucked up I haven't fucked up. I'm joking, but like because my audience is like mostly men, that's like
not gonna
that'll happen maybe one day. But like,
and I could see it being easier for like swingers. It's like
because you're talking about it so much. Yeah. So my group, the guys in my group coaching, are going to feel very vindicated when they listen to this. Then they're going to be like, see, Andy, I told you can get laid. Like, she just has to make her fucking YouTube blow up and talk about, like, by the way, my boyfriend and I are, like, our inbox is always open. If you're a beautiful young, like, send nudes. Make sure you send fucking a resume, send a fucking, like, and we'll do an interview. We have, like, a fucking sign up. They have to write, like, answer a bunch of questions. Like, do you like BDSM? Yes or no? On a scale of 1 to 10, like, how much are you into self-improvement? How serious are you about your goals? Yeah. If she's just like, I don't know, I just want to have sex with you, it's like, wrong answer, sweetie. Like, what's your meaning of life before you have sex with us? What do you want from life? Would you ever be an authoritarian? The answer is like, no.
I think authoritarians admit to that, though.
No, literally no authoritarians will admit that they're an authoritarian. Correct. They'll say they're doing it for like the safety, like everything everyone's done over the last 2 years is like, yeah, for the common good. Like I'm just like controlling everyone else for the common good. Yeah, no politician will ever admit that either. Unless you're fucking in the Soviet Union. I was telling you this morning. They fully admitted, like Lenin and Stalin and shit. They just like admitted that they were fucking psychopaths. Like they're just like straight up like, yeah, this is the handbook on how you be a psychopath. So I respect the honesty.
Yeah.
I don't. Imogen, I'll read this one.
Yeah.
You did quite a few paid art clients.
Yeah.
Because you do art. You did some artwork for Cam, Radical. You've done some for other people. You did a bunch of your own shit.
Yeah.
Was it last year that you did that? It was the year before, wasn't it? That big painting for that married couple?
Yeah, but I did work similar to that, like more larger scale pieces for a lot more clients, which was nice because it did feel like they kind of accidentally came in. I definitely didn't push to be getting clients, especially because at times I felt like I was quite busy. But it was nice to do client work, and it did force me to keep doing art, especially since after my 365 ended. Yeah. It's kind of kept me doing bits and pieces. Yeah,
you did like a bunch of logos for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit like that.
And it's funny because I actually remember in my last couple of years of high school, I had a design teacher that I respected quite a lot, and one of the first questions that he asked us was, who wants to like get into the art/design industry? And a lot of people put their hand up, and then the next question was, who's currently in the design or art industry doing paid work now? And like nobody did. And I think the fact that it's still ticking along and I'm still doing something is important to me, and then I'm glad that I've kept doing little bits and pieces in the background.
You probably will. I suspect you will for the rest of your life. Just like always have your inbox open, and someone randomly will be like, hey, can you do a logo for this? Hey, can you do this? Hey, my business wants to do this. Can you do it? And you'll just do it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that hard. It was
towards me.
It wasn't that hard. It was more just getting started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anyone wants her to do some art or logos or whatever, like, just either message me and I can pass it on to her, or message her or whatever. Number 79. I'll read this one. I brought my family birthday presents for the first time ever. So I'm not someone that's ever done Christmas presents or birthday presents for people. I don't like really getting birthday presents or Christmas presents. I've just never really done it. I've been like the Grinch or Scrooge McDuck. Not intentionally, not out of like a grump. I just never really did it. A big part of that was because I always struggled with money. I never really had money. That's why, being able to pay the bills from my coaching was such a fucking big deal for me. And so this year I bought my family birthday presents for the first time ever. It was really difficult. There was a big part of me that's like, you can't afford this. And I looked at my bank account and I was like, yes, I can. Like, I can do this. But, there's still that feeling of like, but what if I don't get coaching clients for like, a few months in a row and I can't pay the, like, blah, 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 like all those kind of fears. So even though I didn't spend much on my family, actually I did. I spent about like $600 in total across like my mum, my dad, and my sister. But that felt nice. I bought them like actual meaningful gifts that I thought they would like. They did like them. You helped me pick one out. I appreciate that. And that was nice. That was a surprise for them too. They were like, oh, what are you doing? Like, what's going on?
Haven't had this
we didn't
in
buy
like
you something. What are you doing? Yeah. So that was nice. Yeah.
Was nice.
And then I forgot to buy them Christmas presents.
That's fine.
I forgot about Christmas. Whatever. You can do 80. Give context for this one. Don't just read it out.
Okay,
People won't know what it means.
We have mentioned it in previous episodes, but at the start of 2021, going all in with helping Andy with his coaching was that I quit my office job that was shitty but stable, and I took out a bank loan of 20,000 Australian dollars to help pay the bills for like 6 months or so.
Yeah, while you helped me build up my coaching.
Yeah, so we both
went all in together, yeah.
Do it full time.
Yeah.
And that was terrifying for me at the time, as we mentioned in a previous episode. And part of the fear around that was that I was worried we were going to break up and I'm going to have this debt and no way to, I mean, there'll always be a way to pay it and I would find a job, but immediately I would have no income and that would be terrifying. It is still something that I'm working through a little bit, but the success that I'm going to mention is that I actually told my mother about it, and I think that was part of what the fear was coming from, is that the fear was not only if we broke up would I not necessarily have a way to pay it, but I would have to tell my family and I would have to tell, I think it's a pride thing, I would have to tell them that I fucked up, that I'm struggling, that I've done this thing and I might need help. So I told her about that and made her a little bit stressed. But ultimately she did say, like, if something bad ever happens, just tell me and we can figure it out, which was reassuring. And just the fact that I told her was, I think, important to not feel like I was hiding that from her. And I had this secret, and that if something went wrong, that I had to kind of confess that was one fear removed. Yeah.
Number 81. We're saving this till the end. It's funny. When we wrote this list, we didn't intend to save this one till the end. We just wrote everything down, and then towards the end I was like, wait, we haven't put anything about like sex. Like how many girls we've slept with or something. Because we genuinely weren't, it wasn't even on our mind. And I've said this to people before, like after you've slept with a certain amount of people, you stop counting, or I think it's healthy to stop counting. I don't think it's healthy to count forever. And we didn't really pay attention to like how many girls we slept with, and that's been kind of nice. Like not actually writing a lay report every time we have sex with someone new, keeping some of them to ourselves and going like, no, this was like a nice girl that we're gonna date, and I like the sex we have, you like the sex we have. I don't feel like I need to publicize every single person that we sleep with. That's been really nice. And especially not counting. I've enjoyed not counting. I don't know how many girls we slept with this year. This is the first year ever I haven't counted. I really like it. I'm not going to count ever again. I took all my lay counts down from my website. Some of you might have noticed that. I took the actual numbers down. I still have all the lay stories and, I call them just sex adventures, stories. That's all still up there. I'll always keep that up there. But I took down the actual, like, I've had this many threesomes. I've slept with this many women in my life. Like, I took all that down from my website because I don't think, for me, that's healthy to keep counting. It's not, which means the numbers will eventually get out of date anyway. Like, I'll forget. Like, 5 years from now, I will have no clue how many people I've slept with, and I don't want to. I don't think that's important for me. I also think, and I was talking about this with Cam, Radical on the forums, and he and I don't think it's healthy for you guys, for me to have my lay count up there. I think proof is very important. I talk about this all the time. That's why all the stories will always be up there. We will get girls on the podcast that we date. They can share their shit. You guys know that I get laid, but I don't think it's I don't think it's healthy for you guys to compare yourself to that lay count. And I've seen too many people, the vast majority, let's just say almost everyone who comes to my fucking website or watches my videos will compare themselves to that number and say, oh my God, I'm so far short of that number. And I don't think that serves you, like, that does justice for you guys. I wrote an article called Don't Compare Your Lay Count to Mine. And one of the points that I made in the article, was a lot of my lays were with really unattractive, morbidly obese women when I was depressed, when I was cheating on my girlfriends at the time, like in my 20s, like probably 70 women I slept with in my 20s. And I'm not happy that I slept with any of them. I don't sit there and have regrets over it. Like, that was part of my fucking journey. Maybe I needed to do that shit to get to a point where I could have healthy relationships with women. But don't look at my lay count and go like, oh, wow, look what Andy's done. I'm going to do that. Because half of them were girls that you would not in a million years want to sleep with. Nothing against nothing against those people, but they weren't attractive and they weren't even happy themselves. Like, I wasn't happy. They weren't happy. It was a fucking sex addiction. And so I don't want to... Or I've had too many people look at the lay count and go, okay, my goal is 100 lays as well. And it's like, why? And they'll get to like 10 or 20 and they'll go, I don't think this is making me happy. I think I'm just getting laid for the sake of it. I think I'd rather, this is what everyone says, I'd rather focus on quality instead of quantity. I've had that from fucking like 50 to 100 to fucking 150 clients have said that. Like, so I took my lay count down. I'm not going to... If someone ever asks me, I'll fucking give them a rough number. It's roughly 150 at this point. It could be more, it could be 180. I don't even fucking know. Threesomes, we've had like fucking, I don't know, like 27 different girls in threesomes. But like, so I'll tell if someone specifically asks me if they're genuinely curious. But then I will give the extra context of, please don't compare yourself to that lay count. Like, it's not the number. It's, are you happy with the people you're sleeping with? Are you happy with yourself? Are you happy with your self-improvement? Are the girls happy with you? Do they like you? Do you guys have a nice fucking time together? Is the sex kinky and wild and crazy and amazing? Like, do you just have a good time? Like, that's the question that matters. Basically, are you fucking happy? And if you're happy, what does it matter if you've slept with 150 fucking girls or 10? If you can be as happy sleeping with 5 women as 155 women. Like, 100% exactly as happy. Yeah. Depends on the person. And a lot of the time you'll find that when people chase a high lay count, they're kind of either filling a void. I certainly was. I can think of another guy, Joe from Passion Unchained. He's talked about this as well. He was like filling voids as well with his lay count. He's had sex with about as many women as me, and we both speak the same language. He's like, yeah, dude, like half of that was me fucking running from myself. Half of that was me trying to get validation from women because I didn't fucking like myself. And all the ones that liked me, I would almost not even fully take on the validation because I was so hateful on myself that I would ignore when they slept with me. I'd be like, oh, it doesn't even count. It was a fluke. But then if they rejected me, I'd be like, oh, see, I am a piece of shit. So it's not like a lot of the time people will look at a high lay count and glamorize it and go like, wow, that's so cool. 150. He must be happy because he slept with 150 women. Now, I am happy. I am glad that I slept with that many. But I'm not glad because I slept with that many. I'm glad that was part of my journey. I'm glad that I've moved past that, all that, blah, blah, blah. I like the women we sleep with now, blah, blah, blah. But it's not because I got a high lay count.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, I think part of that is just being happy with where you are right now.
Yeah.
And then from there, accepting that whatever happened to get you here got you here, and you're happy now.
And now there will be some people that genuinely just fucking love sex. I can think of one guy on the forums right now, a guy called Holden on the forums, who's just having a ton of sex. I can think of another guy, Mangelino. I always pronounce his name wrong, but those two guys just seem to, they have their own reasons for getting sex, and they like it, and they seem to be having fun, especially Holden. Holden seems to be having a good time. Now, would I tell him to just go and have infinite lays for the rest of his life? No, it's not fucking healthy. Like, you got to move on. But he's at the stage where he's having a bunch of sex. I think he's had sex with like 70 women, and he seems to be really enjoying it. So more power to him. But you got to take this on an individual case-by-case basis. If you don't think you want to fuck 50 women or 100 women or 150 women or 10 billion women or whatever, please don't think you have to. Now, if you look at that number and go like, I think that'd be cool. I really want to do that. That would be meaningful to me. It'd mean a lot. I really want to do it. Like, go for it. I would also add, if you get, and this happens all the time, if you get like a third of the way into your goal, like let's say your goal is to have sex. Let's say you say, I want to have sex with 50 women, and you have sex with the first 10, and then you feel like, I don't think I want to just fuck 40 more women. Like, listen to that voice. Don't throw that away and go, no, I'm just going to make myself fuck 40 girls. Because you will just, you're almost developing a pathology, because now you're doing something you don't really want to do. Or you can, maybe here's another way of phrasing that. If you fuck, you'll probably end up fucking another 40 women anyway over the next like 5 or so years anyway. So have that as something that you do that you enjoy along the way, rather than just indiscriminately fucking anyone that will fuck you. Yeah. And that's what we talk about when guys say like quality, not quantity. So you can still have this Lego. Just focus on making sure you have connections with the chicks that you fuck, that you really like them, that they're cool, that they're attractive, that you're actually into them. Upgrade over time. Like, sleep with hotter girls over time, sleep with cooler girls over time, sleep with kinkier girls over time. Like, give yourself that challenge so there's room for growth. Don't just go out and say, I'm going to fuck 50 overweight chicks because then I can fuck 50 girls. Like, that's not, you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not developing as a person, you're not maturing, you're just fucking 50 random chicks. So, in short, if you have a high lay count goal, brilliant, like, great. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Don't just indiscriminately chase it. Don't just go and fuck 150 random girls that are all just, like, average as fuck. Like, upgrade, grow yourself as a person, become better, all that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's almost a case of just take your time and enjoy it, rather than trying to cram it all in as fast as possible just to say that you've done it. That's
a good way of phrasing it, yeah. A lot of my lays were just me, like, chasing a sex addiction. And it's, like, I'm getting laid a little less, maybe half as much as I used to now, maybe a third as much. But I enjoy it, like, 50,000 times more than I used to. Because every single girl, it's like we screen them really hard. We go on, like, 2 dates before we sleep with them to make sure we really like them. We make sure I'm really attracted to them. We make sure they're cool people. We make sure we respect them. Like, it's not just random chicks that are crazy or something and I don't like them that much. And so screening a lot harder. I actually enjoy the lays, like, infinitely more, even though there's, like, a third as many. Because when I was getting laid, like, as much as I possibly could, when that was my main goal, a lot of the girls I'd sleep with, and then afterwards I'd be like, oh, I never want to see her again. Like, Jesus, at least I got a lay, but, like, fuck me. Like, she's just not a great person. And so half of the people you're sleeping with, you're like, what was the point of that? Like, I got a leg, great. Like, I'm up to, 110 now, when before I was at 109. Like, yippee me, I guess.
Yeah,
but
the difference between, like, one and, like, another one at that point, it becomes less and less meaningful.
Yeah. And it's important to say, I guess, when you're at the start, if you're a virgin, you're not going to sit there and go, I want the best person in the entire world. Like, I get it. You just want to sleep with anyone that will sleep with you. That's not even a bad thing. That's how, like, you gain experience. I recommend that. I say, like, keep an open mind. Don't sleep with someone that you fucking hate and she's, like, morbidly obese and you can't even get an erection. You have to, like, fucking take 10 Viagra. Yeah, don't do that. That's an extreme. But I say keep an open mind. Get a bit of experience. Get more confidence. Practice talking to more women. I always say, like, go talk to more women and shit like that. So at the start, like, I'm an advocate of that. It's more eventually after you've had 10 lays, 20 lays, 30 lays, definitely if you have a high fucking lay count, you get to a point where you're just like, I don't think I need more experience now. I think I want to raise my standards. That happens with fucking everyone. Unless you're in an unhealthy mindset, like I was for a while, and like Joe from Passion Unchained was, like people like Roosh V before he found Jesus, someone that strikes me very much as like just trying to get more lays and not necessarily, yes, he slept with more attractive girls and better girls and all of that, but that wasn't his goal. His goal was to just fucking fill a void in his heart, and I don't think that keeps you happy long term. At the start, it's great. It's just like, yeah, I need sex. Like, I'm getting laid. Cool. I never got laid in my entire life. Dude, Andy, I don't even care about fucking quality. Like, quality would be lovely, but like, fuck, I just want a girl to be nice to me. But eventually, you do start upgrading your standards. Like, that's just inevitable. Women do the same shit.
Of course.
18-year-old girls will sleep with like anyone. Like, as long as he's like moderately attractive and slightly decent, they'll fuck him. And then by the time they're 30, they're like, here's my laundry list of things that he has to have. So it's something that everybody does. I guess what I'm saying is be ready for that to happen. Don't fight it. If you get to a point where you start thinking like, I think I want to upgrade the people I'm sleeping with. I think I want to raise my standards. I think I want to chase quality, not quantity. Be open to that. Go like, okay, like, yes, I said I wanted to sleep with like 30 women, 50, whatever fucking goal you had, but it's okay if I take a little longer to get there because I'm upgrading my quality. It's okay if I start chasing those really hot chicks, and maybe I have to do a bunch of self-improvement to get there. Maybe right now I can't sleep with the women that I actually want to sleep with. What do I have to do to change that? And then, make some changes, upgrade yourself, maybe learn a little bit of BDSM and shit. That always helps. If you have something to offer like BDSM, that helps. Like, more girls will sleep with you, hotter girls will sleep with you, because you're giving them a new experience that they can't get from elsewhere. Gain a bunch of muscle, look fucking sexy, take new Tinder pictures, go outside and talk to women, all that kind of shit. So you guys know the self-improvement basics. Yeah, so all of that, we didn't actually say, it doesn't even matter, but we slept with a few girls. Let's just phrase it like that. Does it even matter how many we slept with? People will be curious, I guess.
I don't actually
we just
know
gave
how
that.
many.
I don't know how many either. I think it's roughly 10, but I have a feeling it might be more than that. I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know.
I will say we talked to as many, if not more, girls than we ever did in the past.
We went on a bunch of dates with girls.
We've
that we
been
didn't
on,
end up seeing.
yeah. We've changed the process. Before it was like, let's fuck anyone that will fuck us because I just want to have my first threesome and we want to just have some threesomes. This is fun and wild. As I've said before, we've really upgraded our quality, and so I've messaged like as in I've got phone numbers off probably like, in order to sleep with those 10, probably like 300 girls. I don't even think I'm exaggerating when I say that. Over the last year. And then how many times have we actually gone on dates? I don't know. Like, I've whittled like fucking crazy. We've been really, and guys, you guys don't have to do this, but like we've gotten nude pictures from every girl. We've said like, you have to send us, we don't say you have to, but like, would you like to send us something of yourself? That's what we say. We send them a couple of nude pictures of us, and then we say, would you like to share something of yourself? Or like, would you like to show us yourself? And if they don't, we don't meet them.
Or we might go on a date.
We might go on a date and keep an open mind short, but like, the vast majority I have just been screening out. If they won't send a nude picture, and fair enough, they don't have to send me a fucking nude picture of their body, but we've been doing that to make sure like we're definitely attracted to them before we even waste time on a date. So we've screened like fucking crazy in terms of that. I've lost, I don't like to using the word lost, but people will understand what I mean when I say this. We've lost out on probably, I'm going to say like 95% of the girls that we've gotten phone numbers from. I've screened them out, or I've tried to get nude pictures and they don't want to, or they have sent nude pictures and I've gone like, nah, like the girls were already seeing a hotter, you're hotter, like what's the point? Why would I sleep with a less attractive girl? We've also been screening, like I said, asking every girl, do you want to do BDSM pictures and nude art with us? Like, and if not, then that kind of makes us less likely to meet them. Do you want to come on our podcast? If not, then that makes us less likely to meet them. So it's been kind of cool. I've messaged and matched with and gotten phone numbers from exactly the same number of girls as in 2020 or 2019 or any other year. Maybe even more the last year. But we've fucked only like, I'd say 10, might be more than that, might be less. I really can't remember. Let's just guess it's 10. I think it's 10. It's roughly 10. And so that's been kind of cool. I like that. I like the way it is. So, like the girls that we're left with, there's been one or two exceptions, but the vast majority of them, the ones we sleep with, we like. Yep. Unfortunately, as we've said, like retention just, because we've moved so much, we just haven't had enough time to like see them for a long period of time. So that's something I think we'll work on this year. You wouldn't have to work on it. It's like, just don't move, and they'll keep seeing you. Just don't move again. So, but that is our like long-term goal in terms of long-term goals. Is like, we don't put a number on it, but we would like a lot of the girls that we see to stick around for a while.
Yep.
And you can't control how long someone sticks around for. There's a million different reasons. You can influence. You can, help retention. I have a retention guide on my website. Go read my Tinder guide. Go to part 5. The entire thing is just a retention guide. But that's what we want long term, is like girls that stick around for... I'd like us to date a girl for a couple of years if she's willing to see us. Like, help her grow as a person. Like, that'd be fucking cool. Like, yeah. But we'll work on that. We don't need to work on that. We just need to not fucking move
It'll
again.
just happen.
Yeah, the girls were happy to see us before all the COVID shit. We had girls stick around for a while before we moved, like the first time. So you can read that one, 82.
It was my first Christmas away from home, so...
Which was emotional for you.
Yeah, for a bit of context, even after I'd moved interstate away, because all of my family are in Victoria, so a different state of the country, I, last Christmas, flew down to see them all, because I've always done a family Christmas, but this was the first time away, and I think because obviously it's just a tradition, we made sure that we had a nice Christmas together instead.
Yeah, you and me and one of my friends.
Yeah.
The 3 people with no fucking family. We
Got
were like the 3
family,
outcasts.
they're
Yeah,
elsewhere.
all of our friends are like, I'm like, what are you guys doing for Christmas? And they're like, I'm going to see my family, loser. They didn't say that. They're like, I'm going to see my family. And so it just ended up being you, me, and one of my friends.
Yeah.
It was quite nice. It was a nice Christmas. You cooked a fucking amazing pork. Big pork belly. You did a nice spread. You made a bunch of salads, a bunch of other shit. It was actually really fucking good food. I made my mother's little dessert. I'm not going to tell anyone the secret dessert. They can fucking get fucked.
But yeah, no, it was nice. And I think part of why that was important was not letting myself be sad, because there were definitely
wanted to be sad.
multiple points leading up to and during where I wanted to be, because I miss them. But the success was definitely in not letting that happen, making sure we had a nice
chose to be
time.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's worth noting, guys. Like, I talk about this all the time. You don't have to give in to your negative thoughts or your negative emotions. You were very miserable. You're like, I miss my family. This sucks. Like, this is going to be a bad Christmas because I miss them. Like, it was very tempting to just sit there and be miserable. And you made a conscious choice. You said, like, no, I'm not going to let myself be miserable. Can you help me? We'll have a good Christmas. And I was like, fuck yeah, of course I'll help you. My friend was really good too. We had like a good fucking Christmas. We got a little Christmas tree, put some lights on it, did all that kind of shit.
Even though you threatened to throw it off the balcony every day of December.
That Christmas tree was like so in the way. It was just in the way. It like
you decided to put it in
like
the way.
bumping me in the fucking face.
You put it in the way.
It's like right next to the couch. And so I was like, I'm going to throw this goddamn Christmas tree off my balcony into the swimming pool at my fucking apartment. Like, I wasn't really. I was joking when I threatened that, obviously. Yeah. So it's worth, anytime you feel that pull towards negativity or you're really negative, you can pull yourself out of that. A good book to start with is You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. Probably the best book on overcoming negativity. The other book is Letting Go by David Hawkins. That's a pretty good book. But I'd start with You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought. That's like the book to handle negativity. Like literally the book to solve that problem. So
I mean, it's probably also worth noting that you don't particularly love Christmas. And I think we both made an effort to have a nice time.
I did a podcast on that. If you guys haven't seen that, it's on my Spotify. So go on my Spotify or Google Podcast or Apple Podcast, whatever fucking podcast platform you use. Search for Kill You're in a Loser Show. I have different content on there compared to what's on this YouTube channel. It's like completely different content. And I did a podcast about Christmas. Like, it was called like If You Don't Like Christmas or something, You're Not Alone. And I talked about how I don't really like Christmas, my reasons why. It's usually because I miss my family. I haven't seen my family on Christmas for a long time. They live like completely different state. And so if you don't like Christmas, you're not alone, blah, blah, blah. But I also made, the conscious effort to go like, okay, I'm going to stop being a miserable bastard. I'm going to stop feeling sad because all my friends have Christmas and family, and, you know, all the girls don't want to see us because they're busy with their friends. And I feel lonely on Christmas usually. I've spent most Christmases alone, especially because you traveled the last couple of Christmases. Like, you went to visit your family, and almost all of my friends, like, have their fucking family. And so I've always just spent Christmas alone, like literally sitting at my home alone, or I will work on Christmas or something like that. And so I made the choice this time to say, like, I'm going to have a good time. You did the same thing. So I think that was a huge fucking victory. We both could have been miserable bastards. And how many people are miserable during Valentine's Day, Christmas? Like, they will just be the Christmas Grinch, or the, you know, negative person who goes like, Valentine's Day is all corporate and it's cliche and I don't buy into that. I agree with all that, by the way, but like, they will choose to be negative. Yeah. And so we made a conscious choice, and you guys can do the same thing. You can make a conscious choice to be positive. You don't have to sit there and be like, I love Christmas. I didn't. I didn't say I love Christmas. I was just like, no, I'm going to have a nice day. I'm going to be okay today. Number 83, the very last one. I did a small dose of LSD again. This is the first time in 2 years after I had a bad trip. You and I had a big dose of LSD like 2 or so years ago. Had a bad trip. The first and only bad trip I've ever had. The first and only bad trip you've ever had. It was a bad trip.
All of mine have had parts that have been a bit intense.
Yeah, but then you like let go and you're okay. This was just like bad. It was bad for most of the trip. Like legit bad. Like, you actually freaked the fuck out and started screaming, and you like didn't trust me. You thought I was like evil or something. You didn't know that it was Andy.
You were messaging your friend and you didn't tell me. I asked you and you didn't tell me what you were doing.
Yeah, like, at the peak of your LSD trip. Yeah, you're freaking the fuck out and screaming and just losing your fucking mind. And I'm texting my mate going like, dude, I'm tripping balls. She's tripping balls. What the fuck do I do? Do I take her to the hospital? Should I not take, like, what if I take her to the hospital, won't that freak her out? Like, you know, can you come over? Like, and I'm texting and you're going like, what are you doing? And I can't say like, I'm texting my mate because I'm freaking the fuck out right now, Imogen.
You could have just told me you're texting.
But I was just like, yeah, but it's hard to fucking do two things at once. So I'm just like, I'm going to ignore her and I'm going to try and remain calm while I text my mate and be like, dude, tell me I'm going to be okay, dude. Like, I knew I was going to be okay, but I was just texting him. That made me feel better, texting him.
Yeah. And then I felt like I couldn't trust you the rest of the trip.
Yeah. So you're like, why is he being secretive on his phone? And then that made you not trust me.
Yeah. And then I felt like you were somebody else. Like, you weren't Andy.
You started you started getting paranoid and shit. Bad trip.
Yep.
I even started having like a full-on fucking panic attack. I was pretty controlled. I was pretty in control for most of it. But yeah, I was like, fuck me. Like, my heart was just fucking... We both had a bad fucking trip. Yep. And the effects from that lasted for probably like, for me, like 3 to 4 months. Like, I would randomly have panic attacks after that when I would like remember the trip. I would literally have a panic attack afterwards. And it eventually faded away.
Yeah.
After like 3 or 4 months. I know you did too. It took probably like 8 months for the like low level anxiety to completely fade away.
And I would say that I'm still working through some anxiety that I think might just be a physiological symptom.
Yeah. But here's the way with all that said, I'm glad we did it because it taught me how to face my anxiety. If I ever had a point where I was anxious, which I've had anxiety in the past, it taught me like, okay, you're not going to die. It taught me how to breathe through it and meditate. We had to do some fucking incredible deep breathing. We remember we put on a soundtrack. We put one particular song on that made you smile during the LSD trip. Yeah. And you were like crying and smiling. And we just kept that song on loop for like hours. And that song like kept us tethered to reality and definitely cheered us up. And anytime we hear that song now, like, I like that fucking song.
Yeah, I did too.
And so that song and meditating and learning how to deep breathe and just telling yourself that you'll be okay, that you'll get through it, eventually this feeling will pass, all of that kind of shit, that definitely taught me a lot of strength. Like, I've used those techniques a hell of a lot since that LSD trip. So it's funny, the worst trip of my entire life, and this is something like everyone says during a bad trip or after a bad trip, the worst trip of my life, I'm still glad I did it.
Yeah.
I don't fucking want to do it again. Which is why I took a tiny dose of LSD recently. It was like 2 weeks ago. I took like a tiny dose. I barely felt anything. It was more to sit there and process some shit. Like LSD, a tiny dose of LSD, they call it microdosing, is pretty decent at getting you to work through your bullshit. Like, you sit there, you do like a counseling session for yourself. You sit there and you go like, okay, I'm stressed about this thing. What am I going to do about it? How do I work through it? Blah, blah, blah. Again, as I said on yesterday's podcast, if you're going to do it LSD, do a bunch of research. Don't do it just because you heard me talk about it. You know, you guys are all adults. If you take an LSD trip without doing any research, you're a fucking idiot. And when you have that moment where you're having a bad trip or you're freaking the fuck out going, this is intense, oh my God, I wasn't ready. Remember that I told you you're a fucking idiot if you do that. Do you remember 2 of my coaching clients in the early days? One was Radical.
Was it?
Maybe it wasn't.
I don't think it was.
Who was it?
Somebody whose name starts with M.
Yeah, and I thought Radical was the other one.
I thought it was just the one guy, but
Radical, I'm sorry if it wasn't you, dude. I thought it was him. It was 2 of them.
Sure.
I thought it was him, and it was the other guy that starts with M. I had 2 coaching clients basically, regardless of who they were, and they knew I took LSD and had got a lot out of it for like counseling and self-development reasons, and so they both said, I'm going to do it. And I said, like, okay, but don't do it until we do a coaching session first before you take it, and I'm going to talk you through everything, all the precautions. Here's 3 books that I want you to go and read to learn about LSD. You need to understand what will happen. This is very intense. Make sure you have someone that can babysit you as well. Don't just fucking do this. And both of them texted me randomly at one point and were like, oh my God, I'm fucking freaking out. I'm high. I'm tripping. I can't handle this. And I'm like, what the tripping on what? What the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, I took like a fucking mega dose of LSD. I took like, 3 times the dose that you recommend for a beginner, or like 5 times the dose for a beginner. Like, oh my God, like I can't handle this. I'm going to die. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with? And so like, that really sucked because that was the stage where I was still I took a lot of responsibility for my coaching clients. I do now, but I don't babysit my coaching clients anymore, but I did back then. And so I was pulled between, this was at like 10 p.m. at night, my time. They texted me. Like they both did this on separate days. And, it was late at night and I'm like, I need to fucking go to bed. I don't want to stay out with this dickhead, like looking after him over fucking Zoom or whatever for the next like 10 hours because he made a stupid mistake that I told him not to do and warned him. I need to go to bed. Like, do I want to ruin my sleep and be up until like fucking 4 a.m. because this dipshit didn't listen? And so it was really difficult for me, really difficult. But I had to basically put a boundary up, and I wrote a lot. I stayed with them for about like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, writing some shit. And they were like, can you just jump on the Zoom call with me? This was separate. They both did this separately. So I had even less patience for the second guy, Jesus. But they were like, can you just come on Zoom call? Can I just see your face? And I was like, no. Like, I will text you for 30 minutes and then I'm going to go. I'll make sure you're okay. I promise you'll be okay. And it was really hard, like, putting that boundary up, especially after 30 minutes and saying, like, I got to go, dude. It's like 11 p.m. I need to go to bed. I got to get up. And I had a coaching call the next morning at like 8 a.m. or some shit. And it's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm already not going to get my 8 hours of fucking sleep. Plus, I know I'm going to be staying up, like, annoyed at you and thinking through all this shit, and I'm not going to sleep well anyway. I'm not going to stay out with you until fucking 5 a.m. and then try and do a coaching call. So that was really difficult. Really difficult. But I'm grateful to myself, to my past self. I'm glad that I fucking had that boundary. Yeah. I'm glad I was. Establishing boundaries was really hard for me at the start. It was. I got it wrong a lot of the time. I let clients do stuff I wasn't comfortable with. Like, I'd give them my personal phone number. And that's not even like anything against them. How are they supposed to know?
Yeah,
like,
it was part of the process of you figuring it out.
Yeah, I had to figure out my boundaries and what's healthy. And any of you who are doing like coaching or content or something like that, you'll probably go through the same process where you feel really guilty for having boundaries. You let people like use your time too much. Like, maybe you're a content creator and people will go like, hey, can you do a video on this? Can you do a video on this? Can you do a video on this? And you'll just do all their videos, even if you don't want to, just because they asked. People will email you and say, can you give me a free coaching call? Hey, can you please write like 17 fucking paragraphs telling me how to change my life for free? Like, and with no guarantee that I'll listen to it. In fact, I probably won't actually take any action, because if I was serious, I wouldn't be emailing you about all this shit. I already would have taken some steps to do this shit. I'm showing you that I'm not serious by writing this fucking half-assed email. And you will reply to that and help these people. And Good Looking Loser talked about this. He said he used to reply to every single email that anyone ever sent him, and he would write like fucking 20 paragraphs, like helping this guy. He said, I'd write a personal article for this guy that I could have just written as an article and put on my website and then helped a bunch of other people. But instead, I would just write it to this guy. And he said, I have like 500 articles buried in people's inboxes that will never see the light of day because I chose to help people who asked for it instead of like writing an article. So At the start, it's hard to do that. It's hard to have those boundaries because you see the person right in front of you who's in pain, who has a struggle, who says like, please, can you just help me? And your gut reaction is like, yeah, I want to help this person. I can't just let him suffer. The further along you get with this, you realize that most of them are not going to take action with what you say. They're not going to change their life. They're not serious. Someone who's serious doesn't write you a fucking email. Let's say 1 in 100 of those emails will be serious. So some of them will genuinely be serious people who will change their life. I've had a couple of those in the early days, but the vast majority of people are not serious. 99 are not serious. So any of you who've emailed me and you were actually serious, like you're not the one I'm talking to, but I'd never know that because I don't reply to you. Or I say, go on my forums and share this. Or I say, I can help you with that in coaching, but I can't really help you with that over email. Those people who are serious, here's what they do anyway. They read your email saying, hey, I'm not going to help you. Like, go on my forums and they will help you, or do some research on my website. I've written some articles on this, like, go do that. If they're serious, they will go and do that. They go onto your forums, they start a log, they change their life. 6 months later, they send you an email saying, hey, dude, I emailed you 6 months later. Sorry, I emailed you 6 months ago. I really appreciate you telling me to go on your forums. I've done this and this and this. Thank you for pushing me to go to your forums. And you're like, oh, shit, like, now we can talk. Now I'm going to reply to you and be like, dude, that's fucking sick. Good job, man. Like, that's amazing. So the people who are serious will do it regardless of what you say. That's what you have to realize. The people who are serious don't need you to write anything. I know that sounds counterintuitive. The people who are not serious will want you to write something and then they won't do anything with it. So funnily enough, you're better off just like not wasting time writing a bunch of shit in an email that only one person will ever have access to. What you can do, and this is what I do, I do this all the time, I still do this. Someone will write a big long thing, or maybe they'll leave a YouTube comment, they'll say like, oh, I'm suffering with this, Andy, what should I do? And if it clicks in my mind, if I'm like, okay, this is a good fucking topic, like a lot of people have suffered with this or asked me about this, I'll go and do a video about it, and then the person can watch the video, or I'll do a podcast. So that's the way I would say. I'm not saying don't help anyone. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying if you do want to help someone, always do it as a piece of content. Even if you decide in the early days, no, every single email that I get, I want to help that person. Brilliant. That's fucking beautiful of you. That won't last forever. Eventually you'll get too many emails that you can't do that. But if you want to do that, just do it as a piece of content and then email the person back and be like, here, I recorded a video, watch this. Because then you're helping other people. You're not wasting time on someone that you can't even guarantee will use your advice. At least if you put it out there into the world, people will take your advice and will follow it and will do something. You're actually helping people. But if you just reply to every email, all you're doing is wasting your own time, wasting your own energy, lowering your motivation for helping other people. You will make yourself more bitter because half of those people, 95% of those people won't do anything with what you have to say, and you'll start resenting people. And you'll go, nobody listens to my advice. It's like, no, people will, but the people who email you probably won't listen to your advice.
Yeah.
People on your YouTube, you want to put it out into the world. It's a numbers game. It really is a numbers game. Put it out into the world, and 1 in 100 people, I think probably with my audience, it's more like 1 in 20 of my audience will do something with every video I make and really change their fucking life. I think it's about 1 in 20, maybe 1 in 10. I think my audience skews pretty well. Same as like Good Looking Loser and sites like that. We do a pretty good job of screening out the people who are not serious. But even then, that's like 9 out of 10 people. And I made that number up. But 9 out of 10 people will not do anything. So you're better off just shoving it out into the world and seeing who likes it. Seeing who uses it. All right, let's wrap the fuck up. Like I wrap up before I sleep with your mother. Always wrap that shit up. No, I don't. She's like past menopause, so I can't get her pregnant. Yeah, this was a fun exercise. I'm sure there are a couple of more things on this list that we haven't put on there. That's fucking fine. Like, who gives a shit? I recommend you guys do the same thing. Give yourself credit for everything you've done this year. Really go through. Try and write down as many little things as you can. You'll see a lot of these things were not big things. Like, these weren't massive things. Like, you doing a couple of pieces of art for some paid clients is not massive. Like,
yeah, it's lots of little things that add up.
Us going and getting our skin checked to make sure we don't have skin cancer, that's not a big fucking thing. That's tiny. You know what I mean? Like, We got a girl on our podcast. That's small. I told my mother I'm in an open relationship. You got a tattoo. Like, these are quite small things. And that's the point. You want to give yourself as much credit for this shit as you possibly can, so you have momentum going into 2022, or like whatever year you're watching this. I'm sure people will watch this in the future. I will be giving this to people probably every fucking year at the end of the year, saying like, go do this exercise again. So give yourself credit for as many little things as you can. I would also recommend sharing it with people. Like, write your list down. You can either write it as a YouTube comment to this video if you want, and I can look at it and be like, yeah, good job, dude. You can post it on my forums. Is probably the best way, because you'll get a bunch of people replying and being like, dude, that's fucking sick. Look at everything you did. Fuck yeah. So go on my forums. If you don't want to do either of those, you can share it with a friend or something.
Yeah,
get a friend to glance over
partner.
it. Yeah, just share it with at least, fucking make a promise to yourself that you'll share it with at least one person, and then fucking do it. Don't just make a promise, do it. Because you want that feedback from other people. If you just look at all this shit, you're going to be like, yeah, I did some stuff, it's fine. If you share it with someone else and they read through it and they're like, oh my God, this is like an incredible amount of shit. You did this all this year. What the fuck? This is amazing. And even if you don't think you've done a lot, again, give yourself credit for the little things. Even if it's like, I made my bed most of the days of the week for the whole year. I made my bed. Amazing. What a good fucking habit that is. As soon as you get out of bed, you've got a nice fucking clean bed. Your room is nice. Okay, now you can go out into the world and fucking fuck shit up. That's a good habit. I read 20 books. I read 5 books. Whatever it is, that's something. If it's better than nothing. I lost 5 pounds across the whole year. Oh, that's not that much. Yes, it is. It's something. It's better than nothing. It's a fight against chaos. It's you turning your life more into order. It's you getting your shit together. It's important. So share it with someone else. Get that positive feedback. Like I said, either leave it as a comment on this video or post on my forums or share with a friend. And give yourself credit, guys. Give yourself credit. Even if you don't think you've done a lot, I promise you, if you sit down and really fucking brainstorm, you can come up with at least, everyone should be able to come up with at least 40 things, minimum. Yeah. Again, even if you're putting the smallest, teensiest, tiniest shit on there. Like, I signed up for the gym. I didn't go to the gym, but I signed up for the gym. Brilliant. You signed up for the fucking gym. Now this year, you can start going. Like, at least if you've done something. Even if you literally say, all I did was sit on my couch all day and fucking just watch all of Andy's videos. Congratulations, you watched a bunch of self-help, self-improvement videos and got started on that. Write down every single video you watched and what you learned from it. There you go. You can write down 40 things, 40 videos of mine that you watched. So even if you have literally nothing that you think you did this year, you've at least probably watched 40 of these fucking videos, haven't you? Or if not my videos, you've watched someone else. I watched Joe Rogan 40 times. Cool. You've expanded your knowledge. You've become more open-minded. You've learned about DMT and elk meat and fucking Onnit supplements and all that shit. That's better than nothing. So if nothing else, write down that you watched 40 self-improvement videos. Congratulations. Good fucking job. Now 2022 is going to be even better. What I want you guys to do is write down any goals that you want, any missions that you're going to work on, and start fucking making those things happen. Start right now. You're already going to be a month. By the time this comes out, we're already a month into the year. So fucking let's go. Start it. Join my forums if you want some accountability. If you don't have an accountability partner yet, get one. Get someone on my forums, or get a friend or someone else who's into goals to keep you accountable every single week or every day, whatever you guys want to do. If you want coaching, I offer that. As I said in the second video, it's pricey. It costs a lot of money. It's premium. I don't fuck around. I don't expect you to fuck around. So only hit me up for that if you're absolutely serious. What do these lovely gentlemen need to do, and ladies, and gentlemen, ladies need to do?
Go out there and crush your goals.
Go crush your fucking goals. Let's make 2022 good. Let's make it the best fucking year ever. I know for a lot of you, 2021 and 2020 kind of sucked. I get that. It wasn't the best years for us either. Fucking, you got a new year right now. Don't fuck around. Take it very seriously. Have fun as well, but let's fucking get it done.